this was the midterm budget for Mr. Narendra Modi, and this was to give a roadmap of next 2 years, how they will go in next 2 years, and it was also, this budget was to consolidate what they have done last 2 years. So the budget will give us this roadmap for next 2 years. Basically, budget is a compendium of economic and fiscal measures. It gives us the proposal for allocation of fund, tax structure, and the industrial policy, and to social welfare. So this is the first time that finance minister has laid down 9 indications in his budget, and this is first time he has talked about not many things about defense budget and a lot of other things. But this 9 points which has proposed, basically they deal with the common man, and that is the importance of this budget. First point, he has talked about agriculture, and one very important thing we must understand that because of the climatic change and the last 2 years the deficit of rain has made our agriculture very complicated, and farmers are passing through a difficult phase. So he has addressed very well about connectivity to roads, and he wants to connect all the villages with road to the towns so that their agriculture produce can be brought. He talked about irrigation, and he talked about he has almost doubled the budget to agriculture fraternity. Almost 60% of the population with this agriculture reforms will be affected, and it's a welcome gesture. Second very important point which he has talked about is social sector, where he has talked about financing the SC, ST and low income group people. Mudra Bank, he has increased. Last year they have given about 1 lakh crore rupee loan. This year they want to give about 1.8 lakh crore loan to this. This affects two-way the economy. Ultimately, what happens to an economy is you need to pump funds either through social welfare or through giving soap to industry. Now I feel this is one of the best way to pump funds into economy by giving it to the entrepreneurs, any particular segment, whether it is through Mudra Bank or through startup. But this is a welcome gesture from finance minister that he has thought about startup industries and through Mudra Bank, SC and ST. This will make new entrepreneurs in India, and our youth, which is very important role will play in future. We Indians almost have huge population of youth in this world. So we will have, those people will have now chance to start their own business and become entrepreneur instead of job seeking people. So this is one of the major point in finance minister's budget. Two very important things happened about healthcare, education, skill development, and finance minister have taken care of these 3 particular aspects, where he has talked about skill development and he has talked about health and education. He has talked about 10 top class world institutes and in private and public sector. He has understood the need of world-class education to Indian youth. So that is again a very huge deficit. I am also happy about his fiscal discipline, as he had promised last year that it will be 3.5%. He has very categorically told that he doesn't want to deviate from that, and it will be kept at 3.5. Lot of importance has given on infrastructure projects, and he has through ports, and he wants to revive the airstrips which are not in use. So infrastructure he has emphasized. One very important thing in infrastructure segment he has told is, if infrastructure has to be developed, the banks have to finance, and there is a growing concern about the NPAs of the bank. So he has allotted 25,000 crore rupees to banks towards adjusting their NPAs. Also, he has given a provision that they can put doubtful loans from 2% to 5%, 2 to 5%. So these are two very important aspects where he is assuring banks that they should keep funding to the projects. I was expecting, he talked about a lot about ease of doing business, and he has gone into length about a lot of restructuring of the laws, and all the micro points of income tax dispute and excise dispute he has talked about. But very important aspect which is needed now is he is encouraging startups and he is encouraging industry, but he did not talk about anything about exit policy. This is going to be a big bottleneck in future, because a lot of people will be encouraged to start new industries, but unless they know how to exit, it's a question. So my request, during this 1 year period, if government can work on exit policy of industry, it will benefit both startup and the existing industry. I have a view on particular this other countries where there is a big interaction between industry and in profession. People change job from industry to professional and professional career to industry. Here in India, once you start any industry, you cannot very easily exit out of it. So this is a need of the hour in Indian situation where we talk about exit policy. There are big chances, the world is passing through a recession in a big way, and we are the only country who has positive growth, and we are expecting 7.6% growth rate. Unless the government puts a lot of money internally, because externally our exports will not be encouraged, because other countries are passing through a big recession. So the only alternative left to finance minister is to generate domestic demand, and this domestic demand, unless government pumps money, both directly or indirectly, it is very difficult to keep this vibrant economy. Finance minister has talked a lot about simplification of tax system. However, this has to be studied, in detail, because those reforms are, he has annexed in the budget, and we are not having a copy of it. So that is needed to be, studied and come back. But overall, this budget, basically he has covered as a common man, people should be happy. But for industry as such, corporate tax, people were expecting that it will be reduced. He did not. Personal income tax, people were thinking that the limits will be enhanced. He did not. So there are certain areas. One very important thing which again he has discouraged in particular area is he has put a tax on a dividend. So there are certain areas where the budget was needed to be explained, which he did not. Probably in near future the situation will come where he need to address this also. Overall, the budget was extremely good, and I think it is growth oriented, and this is first time in any budget that finance minister has talked in detail on micro level about how he plans to work for poor and common man. Thank you very much.